You probably know that the Willamette River isn't the cleanest place. This is something that I've been told my whole life growing up in Portland, but I never knew how dangerous it could be until I started researching it.
There has been a few cases where dogs have suddenly died after swimming in the Willamette. One of those a rescue named Nutmeg. In early September, a family brought their dog to the Selwood Dog Park, and she swam in the Willamette River. About an hour after getting out of the water, she started walking slower and eventually lay down on the grass. The family rushed the dog to the vet. The veterinarian told them that a blood they had drawn did not conclusively point to the cyanotoxins, but that the dog's symptoms indicated that she ingested some type of toxin in the water. After the shocking story was reported, the Portland Water Bureau posted signs at the Selwood Dog Park informing people about the situation. State and city officials are now discussing posting the signs at all parks that have access points to the river.
There can be many dangers for your dog. Top of the list are many parasites and diseases. What are these diseases in the waters? Canidae.com says that there are many diseases. Most common are E. coli. This bacteria can be transmitted between humans and pets like dogs and cats. It can be found in natural water sources used by wild animals. Most strains are safe, but others can cause health issues. Symptoms can be dehydration, lack of appetite, lethargy, diarrhea, and vomiting.
Giardia. The single-celled parasite invades the intestinal tract, causing weight loss, lethargy, vomiting, diarrhea, upset stomach, body weakness, and exhaustion. It can also lead to dehydration. Humans with a compromised immune system have a small risk of picking up this parasite from their dog. Leptospirosis. This bacteria can be found in muddy, marshy, or still and stagnant water. These water sources can be used by wild animals and rodents. The water and soil is contaminated from infected urine. It can be transmitted to humans if infected urine comes in contact with an open wound. There are many symptoms in dogs, some of which include fever, loss of appetite, weight loss, lethargy, diarrhea, vomiting, joint and muscle pain, jaundice, and excessive bleeding.
Blue-green algae, more correctly known as cyanobacteria. Colonies of red, green, or brown algae can be found floating in fresh, saline, brackish water, especially when hot. Water may have a faint musty or foul smell. Dogs that swim in these areas can swallow or ingest the blue-green algae as they are grooming. These can be toxic to humans and dogs, causing life-threatening kidney, liver, and intestinal issues. Blue-green algae can also affect the nervous system. Symptoms include skin rash, excessive thirst, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and fainting. Most rivers and streams have cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is not dangerous, but it creates and contains cyanotoxins in its cells, intercellular. During an algal bloom, these toxins get released into the water around it. If this happened in the Willamette, animals and people who use the Willamette River would be in danger. This leads us to the question, what causes an algal bloom? Our researchers say that there are four main things that contribute to an algal bloom.
Nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus help algae and cyanobacteria grow. They are necessary for a natural ecosystem to survive, but too much of them can cause excessive algae and plant growth.
Temperature. Blue-green algae blooms usually develop during the spring and summer months, when the temperature of the water is above 25 degrees Celsius.
Light. Blue-green algae are very adaptable to different circumstances, but it really likes when it gets a lot of sun that is spread out.
According to Indiana University, most of blue-green algae prefer stable water conditions with low flows, long retention times, light winds, and minimal turbulence. Others prefer mixing conditions and turbid environments.
If there were cyanotoxins in our waterways, the Willamette River would be very dangerous. It is good to know what cyanotoxins look like and what their symptoms are.
Algal blooms can be foam, scum, or mats, or like paint floating on the surface of the water. They are not always visible though. Nor are the blooms always green. Some are colored blue and others are colored reddish-brown.
A way to make sure that there is no cyanotoxins in the Willamette River would be to plant more trees around the water so that there would be more shade, so that the water would be colder during the hot months.
After learning this, we went to the Selwood Dog Park to test the water. And this is what we found. Dissolved oxygen, or DO, was 10, which is a very high amount for dissolved oxygen. The parts hydrogen was 7, or neutral. The temperature of the water was 42 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air was 44 degrees Fahrenheit.
According to Street Roots, a century of poison has made the Willamette one of the most polluted rivers in the United States. It contains at least 65 chemicals that risk human and environmental health, according to the EPA, including petroleum, polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, pesticides like DDT, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. What are the dangers if your dog swims in the ocean? Pet Friendly explains that generally swimming in salt water is actually safer than fresh water for your dog. Dogs get thirsty, especially on a hot day, and dogs, not knowing the difference between the water at home and the ocean, other than its amount, may decide to drink some ocean water. While swimming is okay, drinking is not, even low amounts of consumption can cause serious health problems for dogs, including nausea, dehydration, vomiting, and extremely loose
However,
stool.
depending on your dog's breed, swimming in salt water can be beneficial for them. Although salt water can be unhealthy for dogs with double coats, sunscreen or rinsing your dog with fresh water after swimming will help. Other
dangers are the same that apply to humans, such as riptides and currents, especially if your dog has never been in the ocean before. A solution is that your dog can use a life jacket or visit the beach on a mild day. Also, most dogs won't go too far outside of their comfort zone, but if they're chasing down a toy or stick, then it could happen. It is also harder for dogs with short legs and snouts to stay afloat and breathe. Sea creatures like jellyfish can cause pain and anguish if not avoided.
If your dog is not interested in the water, that's okay too.